Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:33 in the Chicago metro area. My name is Bill Miksch. This is 101.5 FM WLCB Radio, Slade's Corner, Wisconsin. I'm here with Sean Hauser, the illustrious one who is a quarter more wealthier and in his pocketbook. I think maybe you can stop by the candy machine and get a bubble gum out of the machine. What do you think?
Oh no, that's
Or a toy.
a toy. Remember when you used to, when your kids were younger and you would walk by those cursed red metal glass machines, and like they would turn into Persian Bazaar market merchants, just begging and selling their souls to get a sticker or a helmet or whatever. I'm pretty sure my mom actually really regretted having a ninth child when
I was one of those kids, but I had money, so I just had pockets of change, and I would just go and get the stuff.
Really?
Yep.
See, I always had that, well, you could spend your money on that, but if you saved it, we could go down to the train store and get you a new train car. But I want a gumball. Yeah, it's like, come on, instant gratification.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. That exactly right. So we were talking about claims, and we're just about to finish the vision. So let me just finish the vision, because vision is pretty cut and dry. You have to take a look at what the copays are for the extra stuff. Mm-hmm. Do not go out of network. Do not. The networks for most of these companies, whether it's VSP, Davis, some of the other ones, you've got Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, which are even deeper in discounts and give you even better value in some cases. Mm-hmm. Don't go out of network. That is ridiculous to buy an insurance policy for vision, and then you go, well, I want to go with my own doctor. And then you complain about the fact that you're having to pay more than what it costs you to get in a car and drive over there. So, just be mindful of what you're doing before you do something, and don't complain that you spent $700 because you went out of network.
But if you want to go to your own doctor, it would be silly to go to, well, you want to go to your own doctor to buy frames and lenses. That seems insane.
Yes.
Now, I could understand it if this were, you had maybe glaucoma or diabetes and they were concerned about that. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It wouldn't be under your vision plan, then you would be seeing them. You would be seeing them under medical.
And it's not an optometrist you're seeing at that point. It's an ophthalmologist. Yeah.
So it's an ophthalmologist is like medical doctor for the eyes.
Yep.
Ophthalmologist is still a medical doctor, but they're...
I mean optometrist.
Well, then you have optometrists and opticians, right?
The optician is just the assistant.
And the optician makes the glasses, right?
The optometrist is the eye doctor.
Okay.
The ophthalmologist is a medical doctor for eyes.
Did I throw one in there?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
That's okay. But don't go out of network. If you're going to go to whoever you want to go to, then don't buy the policy. Then
just use that to pay for the price.
You can play. Let's make a deal with the eye doctor. Hey, I'm a cash payer. What kind of discounts can you offer? Trust me, they'll play. Let's make a deal. One last thing that I want to share with you, and the eye doctor clients of mine that are going to hear this, they're going to call me tomorrow. So sorry, folks, but I need to be true to myself as an advisor and let you know these things exist. If you want those glasses on the wall, but you don't want to pay a 700% markup, ask for the drawer. Sean, do you know what the drawer is?
That's usually where the teacher put all the crap she took away from me in school. But...
Well, it's pretty close. It's the glasses that used to be on the wall and are now being discontinued. So instead of a 700% markup, you get them for $50.
Oh, I see. So the ones that are on the wall are typically just loaded with clear plastic frames.
Yes.
And so then they're taking those styles down and putting in the latest, and then these would be last year's models.
Last year's models, and they're selling them for a song.
Huh.
And the glasses that I wear, I love my glasses. First of all, they're not metal, so I fall asleep in my chair a lot, given my youth. Mm-hmm. And so
I can't see you rolling your eyes, Bill. It's right.
So and they're plastic. Mm-hmm. So if I fall asleep, I'm not going to worry about them bent or broke. They could break theoretically if I sleep the wrong way, but I don't worry about them bending. In the old days when I had the metal frames,
oh my God, yes,
it would be a disaster. You know, I'd be going back to the eye doctor every 4 weeks. Can you re-straighten these, or am I in trouble? Do I got to get another pair? And this is before I knew about the drawer. Ask for the drawer. Now, I can tell you the other part is I won't say who my doctor is because I've been seeing him forever and he might be listening, but they got rid of the drawer because of me.
No, but if you think about it, I mean, you know, when you go into any vision place, they have hundreds of frames. And they tell you to pick them out, right? Mm-hmm. So you pick out the ones that are really cool, right? Mm-hmm. But they look like I have a head like Charlie Brown's, so the arms are sticking out almost straight out to the side. Right. So I have to go get the XXL frames for my large brain. Mm-hmm. But and you see all these great frames, and then you go back and it's like, okay, well this one is $200, but we're going to mark that down to $120, and these ones are $700, but we're going to mark those up. It's like, what? Yeah. So
in fact, I will tell you, I don't even show the out of network anymore. There is benefits for out of network. It's ridiculous.
And that's what, an emergency, if you broke your glasses and absolutely had to have some, or
no, that's just
I guess it's just a component of everything.
Yeah, and I don't even bother showing it because it just confuses the thing. Find your doctor, find your eye doctor, find Pearl Vision, Sears, whoever, it's not Sears anymore, they're out of business. But find the provider that's going to work for you and go for it. Vision is discount. You can get a pre-estimate. And this is important because we're going to lead into dental in a second, where pre-estimates are primo, high-level importante. Vision, you can get discounts or find out what things are going to cost before they get submitted. Now, the eye doctor is not going to want to play ball with you very easily because they want the sale right there. You can also take your prescription. You do not have to buy the prescription from the doctor that gave you the exam. You can take your prescription to Lens Crafters and have your glasses immediately made rather than waiting 2 or 3 weeks. You can take your contacts to 1-800-CONTACTS or whoever sells them online. I don't know if Amazon does, but I'm sure they're in that business too. God knows.
It's probably coming.
Yeah. But you don't have to do that. So be a consumer. Use your mind. Use your checkbook. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've been going to my eye doctor for 30 years, probably 25 for sure. But I also know about the drawer, and I also know how I use my contacts. So I don't ever buy them the right way. I buy them for how I use them, and then I take my chances. But be smart with your checkbook, and please, for gosh darn sake, do not go out of network. You're asking for trouble, and I just told you, don't do it.
It's interesting you talk about glasses and you get that prescription. There are places you can go online now and buy glasses online.
Right. Yep.
And, it's like, oh, I got 5 pairs of glasses for free. Yeah, you got the frames.
Yeah.
But you go to get those lenses, and that's where
that's where they get
rubber hits the road.
Well,
because that's where it's made.
Yeah. The frames are the frames. They're already made for you. You're getting the lenses, so you want tinted, you want scratch resistant, you want progressives, you want, all these bells and whistles. They go cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching every time they add an extra thing to them.
Well, sure. But I wonder, with glasses, when they used to make glasses, they grind the glass.
Yeah.
I wonder if they do that with plastic or they just make the frame.
I don't know. Next time I see my eye doctor, I'll ask him.
It'd be interesting to know, but anyway.
I'll ask him.
Let's talk
about dental claims.
Okay.
Because we're going to do medical last because we're going to get into specifics about how to fight a claim. Dental uses language that the average public doesn't use. Amalgam is a filling. Palliative is emergency. Root canal is a root canal, but it's also endodontics.
Oh yeah, you have to go to the endodontist.
Right. There are clauses in a dental contract, and I can't underscore this enough. It doesn't matter what the agent said. It doesn't matter what the sales rep at the insurance company said. It doesn't matter what your HR person says about the dental plan. The contract drives the wagon. If you don't have certain provisions in that contract, either you didn't know to ask, or your broker, for whatever the reason, either forgot to put them in, didn't put them in, or couldn't put them in, one of the three. One of these provisions is implants. Implants are becoming big money right now. They're expensive to put in. They can be covered. A lot of smaller companies don't put them in because either they don't want the headache or the hassle for them, or the broker didn't ask. It doesn't cost that much money to add an implant, and I'll tell you why in a second. There's also a clause called the missing tooth clause.
Okay.
So what does that mean? It means if you had a tooth removed or a couple teeth removed, and you go from one company, one employer, let's say, and you jump ship and go to a different employer, and now you want your teeth fixed because you saw this robust dental plan, and you didn't bother checking to see if that missing tooth clause was in there, which means we'll cover your tooth even if it was missing 5 years ago. That's basically what it means. We'll cover it. The missing tooth clause does not cost that much money, and if it's not there, you're going to be really upset because that now becomes 100% your cost to fill that gap in your mouth, which may include the implant or anything else that has to do with filling that gap where the missing tooth is in your mouth.
So if you take the tooth out, you have the tooth pulled, and then it heals over, essentially you can have the bone filled in, or you just let it heal.
Right. And now it's
then
gum.
Things
and then
start to move.
Yep.
And that's what they're afraid of, because once you start to replace a tooth and you have to, and it's already grown together or changed since you had the tooth removed, then we're talking big bucks because now it's restorative.
Right. And restorative does cost, there's no two ways about it. Implants, crowns, bridges, they all cost big money. But if that missing tooth clause is in there, Jesus Christ won't cover that claim.
Again, he's a carpenter. So
I understand. But they used,
Wooden
George
teeth.
Washington teeth.
Got
yeah,
it.
But here's the big deal. Dental claims, there's a couple things that you should pay attention to. Is my dentist in network or out of network? I can tell you firsthand, in 30 years in doing this, there's one thing I know about people and their dentists. Once you find a dentist who comes at you with an iron hook, opens your mouth, and he says, ah, or you say ah, and you say ah, and he doesn't hurt you with that iron hook, you are married to him or her for the rest of his career or her career. You're not going to change. It's just not going to happen. It'll be hellfire before you change dentists. Because you found somebody who won't hurt you. Or if he comes at you with the Novocaine needle and he or she knew to put some of that smelly stuff on your gums to make the needle not so painful.
Oh, they put like a Oragel on there, and then they turn you into Katharine Hepburn where they shake your cheek like that.
There's a little trick my dentist said. We do that so that you're distracted while we're jamming you. So...
Yeah, but then you see this guy who used to play football with this big mitt and a needle coming in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I was watching a Tim Conway episode with... Every time for those of you who don't know, you have to look it up. Tim Conway and Harvey Korman are playing a patient and a dentist. And Tim Conway takes out the needle and hits himself first in the hand. So now his hand is numb. And he's the dentist. Then he's taking his numb hand and trying to stick the guy with the needle again. And then he shakes his hand and sticks himself in the leg.
I always think of the Bill Cosby routine where he's talking about the
drool coming out and the rainbows. Yes.
Happy Sibus, this is my libit. I always think of that.
That's a great one.
And then he goes out in the hallway to laugh at you.
Yeah, that's all. You got to listen, folks. You got to find Bill Cosby's dental routine and the Harvey Korman and Tim Conway dental bit. It's hysterical. Anyway, dental is a more finite claim situation because it's more controlled. The dentist knows if you need a filling, a root canal, a bridge. Can it get complicated? Yeah, there are going to be circumstances where he quotes one thing and it turns out to be something much bigger. That can happen. But generally speaking, if you are able to get a pre-estimate for something big, crown, bridge, implant, whatever the case might be. Not the cleanings, don't bother. Don't obviously, you just do it and you're done. A filling, just do it and you're done. It's the big stuff. Then you know to the penny, literally, what the insurance company is going to pay and what you're going to have to pay for that procedure.
And there's usually a limitation to the amount that the coverage will pay in a calendar year, right?
Yes, so that's a great point. First, you got in-network and out-of-network. All right, so if you're in-network and you're seeing a PPO dentist or an HMO dentist, they've agreed to accept what the insurance companies pay for. If they charge you $250 for a cleaning and the insurance company says we're only going to accept $100, they can't what's called balance bill you for the extra $150. That you're on your own. You're not on your own. The dentist eats that contractually. He has to.
But what? So, and this isn't the show to talk about it. But if I say that I'm the dentist and my cost to do a cleaning is $200. You're insuring that I'm a member of your insurance plan and you're only going to pay me $100.
Why would you do that? Because I'm giving you free advertising in my booklet. Everybody knows if I go to you, you're in my network.
And so the idea is that I will make less per patient, but I will see more patients.
You'll make it up in volume.
Okay. Because it just, and that's the same way at the doctor, too. You go there and it's like, it's $87,000, but then the doctor takes a $86,980 discount and you pay $20.
Yeah, exactly right. So you have a PPO dentist.
Got it.
You have non-PPO.
Yeah, I have a PPO.
You have that same example. He charges you $250. He's out of network. There's a concept called usual and customary or reasonable and customary. In the dental world, that means they're going to pay whatever the contracted doctor is going to get. Generally, there's a caveat to that, which I implement almost 100% of the time, and I'll tell you what it is in a second. But as a rule, PPO is going to get the discounted amount. If that non-PPO dentist charges you $250 and the insurance company paid him $100, he can charge you the other $250, and it doesn't count towards anything.
Okay.
You're on your own.
Okay.
To your question, there is a calendar year limit. A lot of older plans have $1,000 calendar year maximums. I'm trying to get my clients to buy onto $1,500 and $2,000 because dental care has gotten more expensive.
That's what I see is like $1,500 unless you buy the premium plan, which is $2,500 or $3,000.
Yeah. Now the $3,000 are a little bit harder to come by unless you're working for a bigger company.
Right.
We definitely see $1,800 and $2,000. There's one company out there, and I'm still trying to get my head around, that has a $5,000 limit. But I look inside under the weeds, and I'm like, I'm not so sure that there's a lot of moving parts here. My clients are going to be happy, even though it says $5,000. Plus, it's not cheap. Those bigger limits, those dental insurance companies know if you need implants or whatever, they're going to be on the hook for $5,000 potentially.
So if I have one of the $1,500 plans, and and I go into the doctor and there's all these beautiful people with pearly white teeth, and I got new implants and blah blah blah, and they're $3,950, $3,950. Well, if I only have $1,500 in coverage, I could use all of that if it's covered in my plan and allowable, and then I'm out of pocket the other $24.
Exactly right. Or unless you do an implant and then wait and do another one the next year. Do another one the next year. It might take you 10 years to get the implants done doing it that way because you're trying to fill your mouth with implants, but it can be done.
Well, in my business is credit cards. So, and while it's not a credit card, a lot of those places will be, you can do a full set of implants, blah, 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 for $119 a month. For the rest of your life. Oh, not really. But I mean, it's, if you think about it, it's retail credit cards.
Yep.
It's not, that, you can get 8% at Capital One with Samuel L. Jackson or whatever it is. It's like what you would use if you opened up a credit card at Target.
Right. And the implants and some of that stuff, I'm assuming that's what they've done. They've gone to a bank and they've got a sweetheart deal with the bank to say, hey, we want to sign up Sean for this implants. Can he qualify for $24,000?
Some of those companies that, like the ones that say they'll do a full mouth for $4,000, it's the company that's their system that the dentist has been trained to install. They're the ones that have gone to a large lender, and so when you want to get new teeth, you fill out a credit application, then they send it into underwriting, and it's approved, and you get new teeth.
Yep.
But yeah, and I look at those because that's what I used to do for many years was
just out of
retail
curiosity,
credit.
is the dental it's just a loan like any other loan, so the patient's on the hook if they default, right?
Yeah, so typically what'll happen with that is the cost of the material plus the dentist fee to do the prep work and to do all that and the installation and everything will be all factored into a cost. Okay, so then you apply for a loan essentially or a credit card, and you will get approved for a certain amount, and then if it's enough to cover the thing and you say go ahead and do it, they charge your account. The bank will pay for the materials. They will pay the dentist his fee and everyone else. And now the relationship is between you and your bank.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay.
The dentist is out of the box though in terms of any liability, or does the dentist have any culpability if he's buying onto bad patients with a bad credit history or whatever, where they're not paying their bills?
I'd have to look because they'd call that rescission, or chargeback. And unless the dentist has defaulted on some term or some sort of covenant in the contract, no. Because it's just like when you go to all these places now, this big thing now is, 3 years, same as cash.
Right.
That's huge right now. And that's how a lot of people buy. Oh, okay, I'll buy a new sofa if I don't have to pay interest on the money for 3 years. I'll pay it off before the end of the 3 years.
They never do.
And they don't. And that's why those are the companies offer those. But for the person who's going to pay it back in 3 years, it's a heck of a deal. Free money for 3 years.
Absolutely. Yep.
But usually in that case, the claim. So that once the dentist is paid and once the company that sold the materials is paid. And it may be the dentist that just buys the implants from the lab, and then all the money goes to the dentist to pay them for their costs and the materials. And then if the card holder or the borrower defaults, it's between him and his bank.
Okay.
Now, I know you probably don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but there have been instances in the past where they would set up these kind of arrangements for people who couldn't afford health care. So what would happen is you would go to the doctor and you would need some treatment done. Say it was $1,000. Okay. And the doctor, and you'd say, well, I can't afford to pay this. And the doctor would be like, well, we've got this essentially financing. So you fill out the application, you send it into a financial institution, and one I used to work for did this. And they would come back and say, you're approved for $1,200. So you get your procedure and you were happy and everything was great. Well, what had happened is the company that was running this program wasn't paying the doctors.
Oh.
So the doctors were PO'd because they had performed a service and they hadn't gotten some or all of their money yet. So they would refuse to see the patient.
Ooh.
So the patient's like,
Yeah. That's a problem.
We're not going to, I'm not going to pay my credit card anymore then because I can't go see my doctor.
Wow.
And the thing is the doctor, moral or ethical, dilemma aside, right? Was refusing to see the patient because he wasn't getting paid.
He didn't get paid. Yeah.
And the patient's mad at the doctor, or the patient wants to see the doctor. So he says, well, forget it. I'm not going to pay the credit card anymore. I'll pay you, doctor, because they want you to help them.
Right.
And then these guys turn loose the collectors on him.
Oh my God. So
you have to be careful in that space. Most of it's above board, and it's backed by large banks that, have these things.
Not the Bank of John Gotti.
Right.
Yeah.
But but the interest rates were close.
Yes.
But there were some of these things that came up, and it was a great idea.
Yeah.
But when the doctors weren't getting paid, they turned off the care. Then the patients stopped paying the cards.
Yep.
And then the doctors were getting paid directly. So they're happy again.
Mm-hmm.
And the patient, hopefully, I guess, is getting their treatment. They're good. But the credit card company or the finance company is like, hey, wait a minute, you still owe us this money.
Yeah.
Well, the doctor won't treat me because you haven't paid him. Well, that's between me and him, not you and me.
Well, that's wild because they didn't pay him. So where'd the money go? If the doctor didn't get paid, where'd the money go?
So the one company that I am aware of, it was one of those things where new kind of business. It had crept up to, be this stopgap in financing people to get medical care, and marketing costs and everything was outweighing revenues. So they weren't they didn't have enough money back to pay off the doctors.
Jeez.
So that's why, like, you go to these new, you see this stuff in the dentist's office now for these implants. You start, it used to be different finance companies were in on it, or the old American Generals and those kind of places. Now you see it's big banks.
Yeah.
Because now they have the wherewithal to support it, and it's just like,
that's crazy.
I put it on my Sears card. I just put it on my medical expense card.
Well, we're going to continue this discussion about claims. We're going to finish up dental, and then we're going to get into medical, where it gets a little bit more complicated. And then the second part of the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk about how to fight those claims that have gone south on you. So with that in mind, it's the top of the hour. Sean's going to take over the board. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can call in at area code 262-342-6588. You can ask me or Sean anything you want, as long as we know it. And if we don't know it, we'll make it up and make it sound good. That's what they say in the insurance business. So with that in mind, we'll be right back. This is Bill Miksch at WLCB 101.5 FM, Slade's Corner, Wisconsin. We'll be right back.